So I want to take a moment and just talk about access bars. Access bars is this amazing process by which there's 32 points on the head, and these 32 points correlate to different themes of energy. And I think of it like a computer. Okay. So, like, if you have your hard drive and you have all these folders, and the folders all have different themes, you have like one folder for healing, you have one folder for relationships, you have one folder for money, you have one folder for peace and calm, and all these things that when you put your fingers on the opposing points, it creates a bar of energy, which is equivalent to opening up that folder, highlighting all the files in it that do not serve you and who you came to be, and hitting the delete button. And by doing so, creating the space of stepping into new possibility. That's what access bars does as a process. In addition to that, because you have to be touched to receive it, it teaches the body how to receive. Because so often, especially in the States, we are taught it's not okay to be touched. And really, part of the process of learning how to receive from the universe energetically is also to be able to actually receive physically. So access bars is dynamic twofold. So one, getting rid of belief systems and things good and bad, because both stick you with a point of view that creates a limitation, as well as being able to be nurtured and receiving. There is a little science behind it as well. If you're someone that likes science, let me just speak to this briefly. There was a neuroscientist that dedicated his life basically of studying brains, and he would do topographical brain mapping of like a monk meditating and all these different things. So what he did is he had someone hooked up and they were getting a bar session, and they were like 5 magnitude anxiety, which is like really high for anxiety. And in a 90-minute session, it went from that to normal. And he was so enamored by this that he dedicated a huge part of his research time to studying access consciousness. And there was even a paper that was about to come out. And before it got published, it went for peer review. And they said, well, these results are so amazing that there must have been something else besides the bars, and ended up not getting published because he would have like lost funding eventually, or whatnot. But there's science behind it showing that something's happening. So even if you don't really understand it, you don't need to believe it. All you need is the benefit of the doubt and the willingness to receive and the willingness to choose. And access bars can be an amazing transformational tool in your life. And you don't even need to be a practitioner. You can learn it for yourself, for the family members that you have around you. And, they really are tools to change your life, and not necessarily only um, if you wanted to do it professionally. And then after bars, like, that's the most dynamic tools, and all the most important tools of access are in that class. Dr. Dane even says, he's like, the biggest tools we give you right at the beginning. Everything else is like, just additional deep dives into the subject matter. And beyond bars, you have this opportunity called Foundation. And Foundation is a 4-day class. And there's a huge manual that comes with it that goes over all the topics from entities to Becamex, like your autopilot. It talks about money, it talks about relationships, it talks about all kinds of different things. And they rewrite the manual every year because they recognize that the world is a different place than it was a year ago. And even the bars manual, at least once a year, they take reports from practitioners, what's showing up in your clients, and they will take, besides the bars, they will add or take out things that are more or less relevant for the time. And there's been times where I've seen them update the bars manual 3 or 4 times in a year, and the Foundation manual minimum once a year. That is redone. And what if the government like reorganize itself every year based on the world and how it was showing up, and really what was required to create the greatest set of possibilities? That's what access consciousness really is. It is a set of tools that are always on top of it, updating it. There is new content being put out literally every day. There's CFs, certified facilitators, that are putting out access content on their YouTube channels. Like, there's literally a stream of consciousness pouring out at any given time. And then these classes are like these organized deep dives into these things that can totally shift your life and change it. I can speak about that from personal experience. Bars changed my life. I became a facilitator, took my first Foundation class, and it has been a nonstop upward spiral of possibility. And that's my invitation to you. And don't take my word for it. Ask a question, because access is all about empowering you to know that you know. So ask the question: if I were to dive into access, if I were to take this bars class or Foundation or both or whatever the case, how does my life feel 5 years from now? And now, what if I don't take it? How does my life feel? And the thing that feels the lightest, that's what's going to create the most for you. So go based on your own knowing what will create the most for you, what will have the most possibilities for you in your life if you were to choose differently now. And one way to start choosing differently is to dive into a class, dive into a book, dive into some content. There's all kinds of videos on my channel. There's videos on the Emergence of Being channel. There's CFs you can look up. They are all creating these resources for people who are seeking change and more possibility and to really perceive, know, be, and express their unique voice in this world. Dr. Dane said it best in his book, Being You, Changing the World. What if the greatest gift you could be to the world is you being you? Really feel that. And everything that doesn't allow you to really step into that, destroy it and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. That's the Access Consciousness clearing statement. And it goes to the root of every place where you would prevent that from coming to be and starts to unwind it. Because the only being in the universe powerful enough to stop you is you. And so, what if it's as easy as starting to choose differently and not head tripping about what you need to think you figure out and all these things? What do you really know? Be the question, be the choice, and receive the possibilities. Hope to see you in class.